Hello, and welcome to episode 32 of the Casual Tryhard Podcast. I'm Brian.
And I'm James.
James was just before the podcast making fun of how much I spent on my legacy deck.
I wasn't making fun of it at all. I was just curious.
Yes. Too much, ladies and gentlemen.
Too much.
Don't buy foil legacy cards is the takeaway. So we're going to talk about the big thing from Magic this past week.
Yeah, I think we're probably like a week late because the announcement was literally the day after we recorded last week's episode.
Yeah, so this is the new organized play system.
Yep.
But we're going to have a different point of view than I think you've seen a lot of other places.
I agree.
Just because everyone else who's talking about it, former Platinum pros.
Right.
They're trying more than casually.
Also, under this new system, they're just not pros.
Yeah, that is the outline for today's show.
Yeah.
So if you want to give us some show ideas, hit us up at Casual Tripod on Twitter.
Yep, you can find us at Casual Tryhard MTG on Facebook. You can email us at show@casualtryhardmtg.com. And new as of last week, you can find us on our YouTube channel.
There we go. You can watch me butcher a pre-release from War, and then you can listen to the podcast.
Yep. We've got it set up so all of our episodes will port right to YouTube. There won't be any fancy graphics or anything unless you guys really want that for some reason.
And then Brian has to learn how to use
James can probably figure
iMovie.
out. Yeah. James might be able to figure out how it works. But yeah, if it's something that you guys like and want to see, we'll certainly look into growing a YouTube channel a little bit. But for now, it's going to be basically just audio.
To show you guys the power of Facebook, if you were worried about Dieter, he just checked in. Dieter's okay.
Thanks, Dieter.
He is doing fine.
We were worried about you. I'm glad you're all right.
No, we know Dieter's okay. We can move on. Thanks for putting in data. We had the most matches I think we've ever had. We had 260 between all the games played.
Yeah, you guys are awesome.
Yeah, so thank you very much.
Yep, keep it up.
I'm Diamond 3. Mythic is within reach? ?
Yeah, this is unfortunately this is my super busy time of year. I have not had a chance to play much Arena. Basically, the only thing I've done is to try and keep up with the Plancations, and I haven't even really been doing that.
And you got your fancy land. That's all that matters.
Right? Yeah.
So like I said, our big announcement. The big announcement was the Magic esports announcements. If you want to read all this stuff, it's pretty dense. Just go to magic.gg.
Yep.
That is their site where they put all this stuff up.
Mm-hmm. I think on Facebook I had actually posted the link to the article also, so you guys can check it out there. I
think some of the documents that they had sent out to TOs and store owners have been circulating as well, so there's a lot of dense PDFs if you're super into this. Mm-hmm. But we're going to give you kind of the overview of it.
Yep. And we're going to kind of pepper our thoughts in there also.
Yeah. And it is super dense, so bear with us. You might need to go to magic.gg just to follow along because there's a lot here.
Yeah.
All right. The first thing was the Arena Mythic Invitational.
Yep.
And we have down here mostly unchanged.
Yeah, I think the only thing that changed was instead of top 1,000 Mythic for the Mythic Qualifier weekend, it's top 1,200 now.
Which makes sense. For whatever reason, they made the cutoff for numbering people 1,200. Yeah. And then they decided that they were going to make the cutoff 1,000. It's just take all the numbers.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's really easy if it's I'm a percent.
Or I'm a number.
Or I'm a number. I'm a number, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm a percent, I'm not.
Right.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to just do that. It does give 200 people a slot that wouldn't have had it otherwise.
Yeah, but the way that this tournament's structured, it doesn't really matter how many people funnel into day one, right?
No. Was this one you needed 10 wins?
I don't even know.
I think it was, from what I just saw people tweeting and whatnot, I think you had to get 10 wins before you got 2 losses.
Man.
To make day 2.
Yeah.
It was either 10 before you got 2 or 10 before you got 3, but I'm pretty sure it was 10. So it's still a gauntlet.
Yeah. Still pretty rough.
Yeah. So it's the same thing I competed in a couple months ago.
Yep.
I have here I Will Rise Again. One
day.
It just takes so much playing.
Yeah.
So much playing. And then we're going to get Mythic Point Challenges, which is going to be another arena event. What are these?
I have no idea. That's why there's a question mark next to it. It said that they were going to be a thing, and then said nothing else about them.
I think it was something like if you were in the top 1,200, you would get an invite to this like special tournament that allowed you to earn mythic points.
Okay.
Which mythic points are a point that you need to earn something, but there's now at least 3 different point systems.
Yeah, we'll get back to the points at the end, I think.
Yes. And so then we have Mythic Qualifiers, which is the MCQ weekend.
Yes.
Okay. And then the Rivals Mythic Qualifier, which is, I guess this is kind of hard. There's no right order to do this in.
Yeah.
So we have the MPL that you guys have known that is 32 players right now?
Yeah, right now it's 32 players.
So we can think of that as the major leagues.
Yeah.
Rivals is going to be like AAA.
Sure.
Or like if you're a soccer fan, right, there's the Premier League, and then Anthony's going to kill me because I don't know what's the thing that's not the Premier League, the one step underneath it. That's what Rivals is, that step below the big time.
Yeah.
And there's basically going to be a pool of people there that are going to play in these Mythic qualifiers to help qualify for the Mythic Invitational.
Yep.
But the arena stuff, if you're like, well, I'm going to play arena and maybe like 1 month I'll like break it for 2 weeks and like run myself up to Mythic. If that was what your goal was yesterday or last Monday,
that can still be your goal.
That can still be your goal. That doesn't impact anything.
Yep. Like I said, it seems like Arena didn't really change at all other than adding 1,200 players to the Mythic qualifier weekends.
Yeah, as opposed to 1,000.
Yep.
All right. So then we have the next new thing is
the Players Tour.
Players Tour. They were like, you know what? We miss saying PT and PTQ. Let's just go back to that.
I mean, everybody was still saying PT anyway.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense. This section is going to be kind of long. So bear with us. This is where the majority of the changes were. And that's good because this is also where the greatest lack of information was.
Yeah, so if you are like us or me and follow people on Twitter who have been like, I'm Jonathan Rossum and I'm retiring from Magic because there's nothing for me. And Andre Strosky was like, I just got invited to Richmond. I don't know if I'm going to go because I don't think it like advances my career in Magic at all because there's like no organized play structure announced.
Right.
This shuts all those people up, and now they have like an actual structured thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
there is a structure.
So all the people that were like, I'm retiring because there's no more Magic. No, there's more Magic.
There's a ton more Magic.
Yes.
And especially for people at our level, I feel like there is even more Magic than there used to be.
Yes. So what is this Players Tour thing?
So the Players Tour is basically what the Pro Tour used to be. It's like a multi-tiered event. You'll have Players Tour Finals as like the cap for the Players Tour. They're also going to feed into the Invitational or whatever, right?
Or into Rivals or something.
We'll touch on that when we get back to it. And then underneath that, there are the Players Tours. They're going to be held regionally, right?
Yes, so they've broken the world up into 3 regions. The Americas, which when your one region is the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah.
Come on now. And then Europe.
Yep.
And Asia Pacific.
Yep.
Which, you know, most of the Eastern Hemisphere, like, is like, okay, guys, like, really, you couldn't chop this up any smaller? But okay, that's fine.
Not splitting hairs here. I think they did a pretty good job for what they had to work with. So there's going to be 3,600 invites into this new system, which is pretty substantial because the old Pro Tours only had about 1,800 invites.
Yeah, so there's twice as much opportunity or chance for you, PTQ, grinder, or someone like us who's not so much a grinder as like, oh, there's one kind of close, we'll go and see what happens.
Yep.
There's twice as many of those, presumably, or twice as many chances for you to get in.
Yep, twice as many slots. They've also broken up the prize pool a little bit according to the like density of players in the areas for the 3 regions. The Americas Players Tour, they're going to be about 500 players with $250,000 in prizes. The European Players Tour is going to be about 400 players with $200,000 in prizes. And the Asia Pacific Players Tour is going to be about 250 players with $150,000 in prizes.
So the idea is you win a PPTQ in Sheboygan.
Sure.
Right? Well, you won one in North America. Presumably, you're going to go to the North American region to play your PT. But you are able to move.
Yeah.
If you're like, you know what, I won my Sheboygan PT, but I want to go play in the Asia Pacific one. You're qualified for any of them, but you can't like do the Asian Pacific one and then be like, well, I'm going to go do the American one that is the same, like in the same season.
Yep, you're only qualified for one of them, but you can use it for whichever one you want.
Yeah, and it sounds like coverage-wise, at least what they mentioned on the if you like a visual medium, if you go to the Magic Twitch account, there should be a VOD of the esports announcement from last week. And one of the things that they said is they're going to do coverage. They're all going to be like on the same day or the same weekend, but they're going to be covered live in their time zone. Okay. So they said you could watch, in theory, 16 hours of Magic, or there's going to be 2 on one weekend and 1 on the next. Something along those lines. So, like, they could do...
it's going to stretch the coverage team thin.
Yeah, they could do, like, Asia Pacific, and then they could do the Americas on the same weekend. But, I mean, if you think about, like, how, like, GP coverage goes, right, there's... A lot of times there's a European team.
Yeah.
And then there's an American team.
Well, right, but this isn't GP coverage. This is, like, Pro Tour coverage.
Yeah, I understand there can only be one Rich Hagon at any one time. They can't like put him on a plane and like
split him in half.
Yeah, they can't. I'm Rich, and then like 18 hours away, Hagen. Yeah, like it doesn't work. And he became Australian there. It was really bad. Yeah, but it seems like they made it sound like they're gonna at least cover 2 of them simultaneously or back to back. It was a guy named Bear, which was his, like, apparently his honest-to-God given name.
Bear. All
and then another man who I forget his name from the esports thing. And he's like, you can watch 16 hours of coverage if you want, just like one into the other.
That's pretty cool. I was listening to LSV and Matt Nass talk earlier today about this topic. One of the things that they had mentioned, which is something that I hadn't thought about because, you know, my perspective is for like the PPTQ grinder or whatever, but they said it's going to make like their teams awkward because if part of your testing team is, you know, Paulo from Brazil and, you know, me and the U.S. and then like 2 of the Japanese guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like if they're not all the same weekend.
If they're not all the same weekend, they're basically going to be testing for different events because the meta is going to be different weekend to weekend.
Yeah, and like Paulo on Pro Points, it was like, I'll just go to the one that's most convenient because I'm super far from all of them.
Right.
So it might be like, okay, wife, there's one in Houston, there's one in Barcelona, and there's one in Tokyo.
Yeah.
Which place would you like to go spend a week? And then that'd be the one that he goes to. Yeah. I don't think Houston's going to win that.
No probably not.
Texas. But yeah, so that's what he was saying is he would go wherever.
Yeah.
And then Mike Sigris was saying that like there's an advantage to maybe like playing in the Asian Pacific one if it's only going to be 250 players.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you have to top 8 it, there's just less players to beat to get to top 8.
Yeah, but those Japanese players are pretty scary.
True, but he was like, if I can get a 5% better chance by just picking a different weekend.
That's true.
Then I'm going to pick a different weekend. And I was like, wow, that is a level of dedication to EV that like I do not understand.
Right. Yeah, I thought I was doing pretty good buying cards just for this event that I know we're going to get banned. But yeah, I hadn't quite thought about traveling somewhere else because like the field is going to be softer.
Yeah, gaming the system like, I think this tournament's slightly smaller. I like my chances.
Yeah.
All right. So there's the Players Tour, which again just is a PT, but more regional.
Yep.
Some people, I think Matt Sperling had written that he was like, I don't think these Players Tours are going to be like as difficult. Maybe it's going to be akin to like day 1 of a Pro Tour as opposed to a full Pro Tour. I think I've said to you a few times, there's a lot, if like the Pro Tour field was 400 people from across the world.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people like 401 to like 700 that are just as good.
Right.
As anyone else sitting in that room.
Yeah, they just didn't get their break.
They just didn't get their break. You know, they mulled to 5 game 3 of their PPTQ and then or their PTQ and they just didn't get to go.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that they played bad. It was like, I made one decision.
Yep.
Well, 2. I mulliganed to 6 and I mulliganed to 5. And now my decisions are done and I lose.
Yep.
I think you said that LSV and Matt Nass were like, these are going to be as prestigious and probably as difficult as a Pro Tour.
Well, that's what they were thinking. they were under the impression that you can't diminish these to make them less prestigious of an event, so that the finals would have to be half a step higher than that.
If you win the Pro Tour or Players Tour, or if you top 8 it or something, you get bumped into another event, which is the
finals.
The finals.
Yep.
I think if you watch a lot of Saturday Magic, if you watch the Star City Tour, right, they have the Season 1 and Season 2 champions.
Yeah.
And those filter into the Invitational, a smaller, 24-person event. Yeah. It's the same kind of thing. You win your Players Tour, you do well at your Players Tour, that filters you into that championship, that special set-off event.
Yep.
How do we get into the Players Tour?
The first way that people are going to get into the Players Tours are anybody that has previously been in a Players Tour finals automatically has an invite to the Players Tour. Okay, so that doesn't mean a whole lot right now because there hasn't been a Players Tour finals yet. Okay. But going forward, anybody that made it to finals automatically gets an invite back to the Players Tour.
So they can, effectively try to run it back.
Right, yep. Okay. Now, you have to make the finals to do that, but...
the Players Tour finals or the finals of the Players Tour final? There are too many finals here.
There are. That's a great question.
Right, do they mean the top 8, number 1 and number 2, or all 50 people that made the Players Tour final?
I'm not sure.
We've listened to multiple podcasts, read multiple articles.
Yeah, and don't know.
Yeah, watched an hour-long video from Wizards of the Coast, and we're still there's a little fuzzy here.
Yeah, all right, I don't have an answer to that one.
Okay, that's fine. What I will tell our dear listeners is, if you make it to the Players Tour finals,
then
let us know how it works out. Let us know if you get invited back.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's the finals of the tournament or from the tournament, the finals.
Yeah. I'm looking at you, Ken, Mr. Casual on Mimic.
So we'll have to figure that out for you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, no, the second thing here kind of answers that question, because the second way to qualify for the Players Tour is all of the top finishers by record from the previous Players Tour.
Okay, so that's, again, some cutoff, probably.
Yeah, I think they said 39 points.
Yeah, so 13-2.
Yeah. Yeah. And then all MPL players, so all the Magic Pro League players, there'll be 20 going forward.
24.
There's going to be 24 for this weird half season that they're doing.
Oh, and then it goes to 20?
And then it goes to 20.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Because there's not going to be arrivals for the half season.
Okay.
So they're going to drop it. 4 people are going to drop off then, and it'll be 20 players.
Okay.
I think. My understanding. And all Rivals players will also get invites to the Players Tour. And then the same as it was before, top 8 or 39 match points at a GP will get you an invite to the Players Tour. Now, if you win a Grand Prix, you also get an invite to the finals.
Yes.
You are still allowed to play in the Players Tours, but if you want to, you can skip them and go right to finals also.
Okay.
And you can do both. So you can play in the Players Tour, and then if you do bad in that, you still get to go to finals.
Okay.
Also, top 4 teams and all teams with 36 match points at a GP, basically the same thing.
Okay.
They're going to have less chance qualifiers at all Player Tour events. So those will also be seats into the Players Tour, the winner of the last chance qualifiers. Kind of like how there was before.
Yeah, you show up at your GP, or in this case, your Pro Tour.
Yeah.
And that Friday, you just play events, and one person from that event will qualify.
Yep. There was also LCQs at the RPTQ level also.
Yeah.
So if there was an RPTQ at your local store or whatever, you could show up on Friday and hopefully win a last chance qualifier to play Saturday in the RPTQ. There's also going to be Wizards Play Network qualifiers. These are like store level events. They haven't had a whole lot of information on this, and I've kind of been probing our local game store owner for information, and he doesn't have any yet, so I'm not sure if it's just not out there yet or if they're still working on it or what the deal is. But they said that there's going to be a couple different structures for these. One of the structures that they're looking into is like a multi-day, multi-tier thing where you'd have to qualify at different tiers in order to make it to whatever tournament this is that qualifies somebody for the Players Tour. They did mention that these are going to start in October, but nobody knows anything about them yet.
Yeah, which is not great.
Right.
For a month and a half away.
Yeah. They also mentioned in one of the announcements that preference will be given to Premier stores. So if your store got qualified for WPN Premier status, they want to give them to those stores before they start giving them to other stores. And from what I gather, that's not a very easy thing for a store to get.
Yes, I think we've mentioned this before. It is difficult.
Yeah.
It's a pretty high bar. But they were saying that they were going to give them to stores that they were hoping could like use it to leverage themselves into being a more premier store and like making whatever qualifications.
Yeah.
So it's not just exclusively premier stores, but they're going to get first crack at it.
Yep. There is one store, I think Cape Fear.
Cape Fear is, I think, the closest premier store.
Yeah.
Then we have the Players Tour qualifiers. So these are analogous to the MCQs and PTQs that we have now, where it's just a big 150 to 200 person tournament.
Yep. Basically what we're going to play in on Saturday.
Yeah. Winner take all.
Yep.
Where we're going, losers get packs.
Yeah. At least the Modern Horizons packs.
Yeah, they have said that I think for the Players Tour qualifiers, first place has to get a flight.
Right.
To run the event, you have to give enough money or like hook up a flight.
Right.
So the person who wins it can actually go.
Yeah, that was something that they were catching a lot of flack for with the last system. People were, winning these events and then not being able to afford to go to the event that they qualified for.
Yeah, there were some GoFundMes going on.
Yeah.
Last MCQ season. I mean, this event we're going to on Saturday, first place gets 120 packs.
Yeah.
Which, like, Delta doesn't take those.
I mean, you can try to shove them in the machine, but I don't think it's going to work.
No, and, I mean, this is, we accept card.
Yeah.
One foil red and 6 equals how many flights?
That's probably a flight.
So hopefully, like, it won't be a situation anymore where you have to, like, take your winnings and then hawk them.
Yeah.
To try to get enough money to pay for your flight.
So basically the exact opposite of the judge program right now?
Yes, where you pay them to be given some stuff so that you can then sell that stuff to reimburse yourself for the judge program.
Yeah, okay.
Sounds good, guys.
Yep.
And these are going to be regional-ish. Again, like it's going to be stores in your area. I think you're only limited by like sanity and willingness to drive, which kind of feeds back into sanity.
Yeah.
I know that like we've been at stores in North Carolina and like the people from Roanoke are in North Carolina, and it's like that's like a 6 or 7 hour drive.
Yeah.
That's
a little further than I'd be willing to go.
Yeah, for like a day or two to like show up at like a random like LGS.
Right.
Like,
I know that there's like 2 that are, within drivable range for us. They're the 2 that I went to last season. There's one in Raleigh and one in Columbia.
Yeah, so if you go to like a Wizards event finder, it's going to let you know like where these are in your area.
Hopefully.
There's an app that someone semi-locally developed called Top-Decked.
Yeah.
If you download that app, it has a lot of functionality. It'll also like put in deck lists, and you can even, with certain stores, submit your deck list, but it has an event finder.
Yeah.
And you can put in what kind of event you want to find and how far you're willing to drive.
It's a pretty good event finder, too.
It'll tell you where everything is. So if you're sitting in Tennessee, you're in Knoxville, you can download this app and it'll tell you like every event within 100 miles of you.
Yep.
So you don't have to like dig as much. They've already like done the digging for you.
Yep. It color codes the events for you too, right?
Yeah, like you can like select it. Like I think it goes all the way down to like F&Ms or something.
Yeah.
And then it's like PTQs and then like GPs and stuff. It'll like tell you all the events.
Yep.
So so that's a way for you to like find stuff pretty easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a pretty sweet app. Also, I noticed lately it has a lot more like collection tracking stuff too, which it didn't used to have.
I haven't messed with it a lot. Like it always comes through for me. Sorry guys for the tangent. It always comes through for me like the bigger events. It will email you your pairings a lot of times, and sometimes it'll email you your pairings before like the Channel Fireball website has them up.
Right.
So you're at a GP and you just get an email and it's like, hey, Top Deck says I'm going to this table, and you just go to that table.
Thanks, Top Deck.
Yeah. After the aside, we'll get back to PTQs.
Yep.
Cryptic Command is the promo. So it's the like most recent art.
Yeah, it's the art from, was it Ultimate Masters?
Was it Ultimate Masters or the one before it? There were so many Master sets.
Yeah, it was one of them. It's really pretty art, though.
Yeah, so that's the foil.
Yep. It'll be foil and have the shooting star thing.
A lot of times, like, the foil, the card that they give you almost pays for your entry fee.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure if I sold my Arcbound Ravager, I'd get more than $35.
Yeah. When they were doing RPTQ promos, it was Noble Hierarch.
And then before that was Emrakul.
Yeah. So there have been some good ones. I expect them to continue being good in the future.
I read a story that, like, for the last season's MCQs, the Brazilian store that wrote up their, like, tournament report as, like, from the store side, had multiple people, like, register for the event and then try to get them to mail them their promo because their promo was worth more than their event registration. Wow. So they were just like, basically, I want to spend $35 or whatever the equivalent is in Brazilian bucks, which I should know the name, but I don't remember the name right now. Someone in Brazil is like, stupid Americans. But they were like, this is worth way more than my entry fee. Yeah. So just mail me my card. And they were like, no, you have to actually show up. Wow. But yeah, they just had people trying to get the card.
One of the other announcements for how to qualify is kind of a big one. They've announced that, so they're calling them Premier Series events, and these are going to be events that aren't necessarily run by Wizards, that they're also going to offer invites through. The most notable of these is the Star City Games Circuit is now going to be able to qualify you for the Players Tour. Now, I don't know exactly how that's going to work, whether it's going to be like open winners or if it has to be like an invitational winner or just the Players' Championship winner or whatever. Yeah. I don't know, which level's going to grant invites, but that's a pretty big thing for them.
Yeah, I just worry that we had this like 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And then they were like, changed our mind. It's like Star City sent like, I think it was like the Players' Champion. Yeah. In that iteration went, and then they were like, we're not doing that anymore. Yeah. It was like a 1 year thing. So hopefully this lasts longer.
Well, that also stopped when Star City stopped hosting GPs. So I kind of assumed it was part of that same deal.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Yeah. And now they've kind of come back and been like, hey, this is good for us.
Yeah. Number one, it's a reason to play in Star City events. Like, I know they kind of pushed the Star City circuit as a way to build yourself as a player so you can, like, move on or whatever. Like, the team events I've always had a blast at, but, like, Star City events are just kind of whatever for me. Like, there's no real desire for me to go play an Open. I'd rather, bookmark a weekend and go play a GP than an Open, I think.
Yeah. I mean, the GPs are just bigger. There's just more stuff.
Yeah, there's more to do. There's more vendors.
Yeah, it's just more interesting.
Yeah, for me at least. I mean, your mileage may vary, whatever, but I always kind of like the GPs bigger, and it doesn't cost any different to do like a GP or an Open.
Yeah, by the time you factor in like your ride and your hotel, and the entry fees are close to the same.
Yeah, I mean, even if they're $20 apart or whatever, like if you take that, proportionally with what you spend over the weekend, like $20 isn't going to break your weekend, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I've always just rather, played at GPs, but, if I can qualify for the Players Tour, that might push me to go to a couple more Opens than I normally would have gone to also.
Yeah, but we're again, our big problem is if you look at where they are. Yeah. Right, it's like I'd rather drive 6 hours to a GP than 6 hours to
an Open. Yeah, nope, I agree. So Star City was the biggie out of this section of the announcement, their Premier Series events. But there was also Lantum Magic Series from Bazaar de Bagda. Yeah. But I'm assuming that's Latin American.
Yeah, LatAm is Latin American.
I gotcha.
And then Bazaar de Baghdad, I guess it's kind of Bazaar of Baghdad?
Like, I don't know.
Close. Jerry Thompson said that it was being run by Willie Adel.
Okay.
Out of Brazil.
Okay.
So it's basically trying to be like the South American Star City games.
Okay, well, that's cool. Like, one thing that I did want to note about like this whole subtopic here is hopefully this is going to give a way to get some representation from some like underrepresented regions. Yeah. Like South America or like Australia. Mm-hmm. Like there's no circuit in Australia. GPs hardly ever go there. There's no regionals.
Yeah. Well, Australia falls into Asian Pacific.
Well, right. There's a big ocean between Asia Pacific and...
Oh, yeah. It's true. But like, I don't know if the flight from like Sydney to Tokyo is much different than the flight from Brazil to Richmond.
Yeah, I really don't know.
Right. That was Paulo's like just like, yeah. Then I have to go to Richmond. There's an event in Richmond like every 3 weeks. Like, it's awful. One, it'll give that area more chances to qualify, hopefully, because that is always a complaint of people from Latin America or Austria or anywhere. It's like impossible for us to qualify for stuff. There's a GP every other weekend in the United States and Europe, and there's maybe one GP in Latin America a year and maybe one GP in Australia every other year. Right. So it's not like you have a ton of opportunity to qualify. And this might be what their hope is. This may encourage these kind of tours to be developed in other areas.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
that's kind of what I got out of the announcement.
Right, because like you could maybe see, I don't know, Kangaroo Magic Tour.
Sure, whatever.
Where, it rotates between like, the major population centers in Australia, and people play that. Is a reason to develop a Star City like tour.
Right.
If you're just like, hey, each one of these, or like every third one effectively becomes like a big PTQ.
Yeah.
Please come play in our events.
So the Reddit thread for this announcement had some Wizards representatives watching it.
Okay.
Like when this announcement happened, and I believe that's where I saw it. But there was somebody like on the West Coast. The West Coast of the U.S. has it a lot better than a lot of places, elsewhere in the world does as far as Magic events go. But there's still way more on the East Coast than the West Coast.
Yeah, and it's just because of Star City.
Right. So somebody that day, as soon as the announcement happened, said, if Star City's doing this, I want to start something on the West Coast also.
Yeah.
So I think they are looking for people to start up, smaller tournament series.
It's not big for Magic, but there's the Ultra Reality Games circuit, or Ultra Reality circuit.
Yeah.
That store is based like 30 minutes from where my parents live in Ohio.
Yeah.
And like they run like Dragon Ball and Yu-Gi-Oh!
Okay.
Is like their bread and butter, but they're a reasonably large circuit for that in the Midwest.
Yeah.
And like, again, if there was a reason for them to like branch out into Magic, or someone else could pick up the mantle in... Like Mock's Boarding House in Seattle is probably big enough that they could like start doing something in the Pacific Northwest and like down the coast.
Yeah. Well, there's isn't Face to Face like big in Canada too?
Face to Face is based in Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's their big store. So yeah, there's a number of stores that could be big enough to like make these events work. And so it's just this can be the catalyst to maybe just getting more people.
Right.
To get to play more Magic.
Yep.
My wife wants to move to the West Coast at some point, and I've told her, I'm like, well, you have to let me get Magic Online and spend a bunch of money because like there's no way to play Magic on the West Coast. So another way to get into the PTs are Magic Online qualifiers. Basically, I think it's going to be the same system that we've had currently.
Yeah, I don't keep up on Magic Online announcements. I know there was a Magic Online announcement after this announcement. I didn't read it. I don't play Magic Online.
Neither do I, but like I think like a couple of times a month there are sealed or standard or modern PTQs that are, again, the winner take all. Yeah. But you don't have to leave your house kind of deal.
Right. Sit around in your underpants.
Yep. And then if one of you is a Hall of Famer, hook us up. Let us know.
Yeah, I don't know why you're listening to our podcast, but...
High quality content and entertainment.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah. That's why they're here.
Yeah.
Hard-hitting analysis of the everyman into high-quality content.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. You just get to show up. They're basically not getting rid of your invite. Now, I think they might have eliminated some of the perks, like flights and whatnot.
Yeah, I really don't know.
I think you have an invite, but you have to like pay your own way.
Shucks.
But at the same time, though, them being more regional, right, it's not like... you're John Finkel and you live in New York and you have to fly to Tokyo to like play an event.
Right.
You're like, oh, the event's in Richmond.
Yeah, it's going to be in the U.S. somewhere.
Yeah, so this is a $300 flight or a $400 flight as opposed to a $1,500 flight.
Right.
But I think he's like a hedge fund manager or something.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
Yeah, he's doing fine.
They also said that they're going to have discretionary invites, basically for them to use however they want.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is, again, how you're going to get, like, not firing any shots here, but, like, the Asian Avenger.
Right.
Right? Like, he got an invite to one of the Mythic events.
Yeah.
And, like, this is a way to, like, keep him in the fold.
Right.
Kind of thing. Or someone else.
Yeah.
Right? Alias V has, like, quit her job now and just, like, is Alias V all the time now. So they just, like, are going to, like, if she's not going to do coverage, maybe they just have her, like...
Yeah.
Like
here's an
playing
invite.
in the event, yeah.
Yep.
Which is fine. Like,
if
they give away, 25 out of a 500-person field. Like,
that's fine.
Big deal. Like, I know someone's gonna like flip a table and be all angry because like I was number 476. It's like, yeah, these things happen. Like, if you were number 501, you'd be like,
you'd have been in the same boat.
You'd be in the same boat. Like, this is fine. If you want to think of it as the real number of slots is 500 minus the discretionaries, that's you have to be number 475. Yeah. It's fine.
One of the things that Brian and Jerry were talking about on the Arena Decklist podcast was that these discretionary invites, like Wizards could use as rewards for like extra tournaments also.
Yeah.
Like they had mentioned doing like a women's league where they could automatically put, the best performing woman Magic
you could
player.
do like a spark split kind of thing, but for an underrepresented group or something like that where like you give them some shine beforehand and then like the hope being that people follow them and their story into the Pro Tour. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can do with them whatever they want. They could do, just like knighting people. I knight the Pro Tour Players Tour player.
Yeah.
Or like they could do stuff that's like, a weekend tournament, like, a 1 day tournament that they cover on their channel for, whatever group, or like, they invite, the 16 best Australian players and they're playing for 4 slots or they're playing for 2 slots or whatever on like a weekend tournament. You know
what else they could do?
I mean, B-list podcast hosts? Are we B-list?
I was going to say golden ticket.
Golden ticket?
Yeah, they can put a golden ticket in a Modern Horizons pack.
Oh, man, I thought that was Ren and Six. I thought that was a golden ticket. I thought you could do whatever you wanted if you
Ren and Six would be even better if it got you to the Players Tour, right?
That would be pretty cool. Yeah, like with the Zendikar packs way back in the day, they put like Power
Priceless
9
treasures,
in them. Right? Now they could just like, you crack a pack and you get like a ticket to the Players Tour. This is your discretionary invite.
Yeah, fanfare and a golden ticket falls out and some glitter.
I mean, if my pack opened and played music and glitter came out, like, I'd just be impressed that it weighs the same as the pack beside it. I mean, this is a feat of engineering, Wizards.
Good job.
You guys are wizards, quite literally.
Yeah.
I think the discretionary invites are fine.
Yeah.
Like, again, if they're looking for B/Liz podcast hosts,
hit us up.
We can be there.
Yep.
Got a few more follows on Twitter. We're slowly climbing the ranks here.
All right.
All right, so then we have the Players Tour final. So this is like after you've done well at the Players Tour, you move on to this thing.
Yep. So there's 3 Players Tours per region per year. So 9 Players Tours altogether.
Okay.
And then they feed into these finals. There's 3 of these per year also. So I guess each set of regionals feeds into one of these.
Yeah, so like the 3 America Players Tour feeds into the America Players Tour final.
Yep.
Okay.
Is that how it works?
I think there's 3 per year tied to the regional Players Tours. So there's an America's one.
Like, are they broken up by region, or are they broken up like one set of Players Tours feeds one Players Tour finals?
Oh, like
one from each region. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the January one feeds.
Right.
I don't know. It would be interesting to see. Yeah, but if they do everything else regionally, it would seem weird to break the regional confines for this.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, you won the Tokyo Players Tour. You get to fly to Sacramento.
Yeah. I'm not sure that is weird.
Yeah, so I would guess it would stay regional.
Okay. We'll have to stay tuned and figure out how that breaks down.
When one of you guys wins one and they tell you where to go,
let us know.
Let us know.
Also, some of this information is probably out there. There's a lot of information to sort through.
Yeah, it is super dense.
Yeah.
Like I said, we have jobs and families and I didn't have a sink for most of the weekend.
Yeah,
so
you're welcome.
like I had issues.
Yeah, I got an emergency text message from Brian's wife. Brian's very sweary. Can you come save him? Yeah, I'll be right over.
Yes. So you do well at a Players Tour. You get to a finals.
Yep. So it's the top finishers from Players Tour events. It's the top finishers from previous Players Tour finals.
Yeah, so I don't know where they cut the line for top finishers. But, like, again, it makes sense. It's something that they have like, kind of not done well in the past.
Yeah.
Where, like, the previous world champion didn't qualify for this year's Worlds. Like, couldn't defend the belt.
Yeah.
This allows you to defend the belt.
Right. These are going to be smaller tournaments also, like even smaller than a Pro Tour.
Yeah.
These are only like 120 players.
Yeah, so bigger than Worlds.
Right.
But smaller than a Pro Tour.
Right. Weighs like a quarter the size of a Pro Tour.
Yes.
And then all 24 MPL players will be in this.
Okay.
And like we said earlier, all of the Grand Prix winners will have an invite right to this.
Yes. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Like Spike Grand Prix, and it qualifies you for 2 tournaments instead of 1.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
Yep. Lots of prizes, too. The finals are going to have $250,000 prize pool.
for roughly 120 players. So
Yeah, pretty good.
quick math, it's like $2,000 a player is like the EV.
Yeah.
Which is pretty all right.
Yep, I'll take it. We also got a little bit of clarification on what the MPL is.
Okay.
And how to get in going forward, what it's all going to entail. And they're adding kind of a sub-level of the MPL, which we had also talked about earlier, called the Rivals series.
Yes.
So the MPL is, I got it written down here as 24 members. I guess it's 24 members. I thought they said that it was going to be 20, but maybe it's 24.
20 doesn't make sense when you, like, if you split up into 4 divisions, you have 4 divisions of 5.
Are they still doing that, though?
They're still doing the spark splits, and they're still doing the splits, I think.
Oh, I thought they said
Because I think that's how they, like, decide if you're, like, high or low in the MPL. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense. So each MPL member has the opportunity to get $50,000 in appearance fees.
So they have to show up to events.
They have to show up to events. They're not just giving you a paycheck to do whatever. And they're also getting rid of the streaming contracts.
Yeah, so they're not making them stream.
Right.
I think this year, you're going to see, like, I randomly had on Twitch the other day, and Ben Stark had 1,600 people watching him at, like, 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I think that, like, someone like him who's probably got a lot of subs and stuff, like, this is a way for him to, like, play Magic and get paid. Mm-hmm. And I think he'll probably keep streaming, but I think there's some other people that may have been less successful streaming.
Right.
Or maybe Wizards was like, wow, we're paying these people. We're fine with paying them $50,000 to show up to events.
Yeah.
But we don't want to pay them $75,000, an extra $25,000 to have, 57 people watch them play Magic.
Yeah. I also kind of got the feeling that some of the MPL members, like, didn't really want to stream either.
Yeah. I mean, Jerry, when he took the contract, it was like you could take the streaming part of it or just the other contract, and he took the other contract so he didn't have to stream.
Right, but even some of the people that took the streaming contract, I don't think really wanted it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of money to turn down.
Yeah.
So they were like, sure.
Yeah.
I like money.
Yep. And then the appearance fees are separate from, like, prize earnings. So the appearance fees are just, you're getting paid to show up to a tournament.
Yeah, you show up to the Players Tour, they cut you a check.
Yep.
And then if you win the Players Tour, they cut you another check.
Right.
Yeah.
All MPL members will have invites to the Mythic Invitationals and all Players Tour events, so they don't have to qualify. They're already qualified.
Yeah.
We had talked previously about player points and Mythic points. These are kind of where they come in, because a combination of your player points and your Mythic points are going to determine your rank in the MPL. So player points you earn from the Players Tour side of the bracket, and then Mythic points you're going to earn from the Arena side of the bracket.
Okay.
I don't know how the points break down. I don't know how many you can get at an event. I don't know, like, how well you have to do to earn a point or whatever. But this is what they said they're going to use to rank members of the MPL.
Okay.
And then at the end of the season, the top 12 ranked members of the MPL get to stay. The bottom 4 members drop into Rivals automatically, made part of the Rivals bracket. And then the remainder play in a MPL Gauntlet tournament with Rivals players. Top 4 from the Gauntlet get put into the MPL.
Okay.
And then the top 2 Mythic points players, I believe, from Rivals get put right in. And the top 2 player points from Rivals, I believe, get put right in.
Okay.
A lot of ways to get into the MPL.
I know the esports guys were like, I'm super excited for the Gauntlet tournament. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's pretty much just like watching people play for like $30,000.
Yeah.
Because there's a big drop in appearance fees from
right.
Rivals to MPL.
Oh, yeah. Huge drop.
Yeah. So you're like watching people like play for, I don't know, their car payment.
Right.
which is rough.
Yeah.
But super entertaining.
Kind of summarize, like, the changes that they've made so far is they have eliminated a lot of self-proclaimed pro players, and admittedly some people that deserve to be pro players also, and said there's only going to be 24 pro players and we are going to pay them so they are actually a professional Magic player.
And then the Rivals are, we're going to pay them, but we're going to pay them less.
Right.
And like, if you get a roommate, you can make this work.
Yep. So they are actual people that get paid to play Magic.
Yeah, this is something that came up in one of our threads a couple days ago, where, a lot of the quote unquote pros were upset that they weren't happy with all the stuff at the top end.
Right.
Right. And I pointed out, I was like, we keep talking about pro players,
Right.
but there have never been pro Magic players.
Correct.
There have been people who really like Magic
Yep.
and are good enough that if they fly to a GP, they're not 100% to just throw away all their money,
Right.
but they are not earning enough money to like truly live off of
Right.
while playing Magic. There's stories that like Christian Calcana is someone that like I think most Magic players know.
Yeah.
Right. He
Pretty well
he
known.
top eighted a GP recent, not GP, a Pro Tour recently,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Not
Right.
too long ago.
He, to his own admission, has lost money playing Magic.
Mhm.
Right. And you think of Christian Calcano as a professional Magic player.
Absolutely.
Right. There were no pro Magic players before. None. Now we have kind of two groups
Right.
of roughly 70
Yep.
pro Magic players, people that are getting a paycheck for showing up to events not based on results.
Right.
And I think that is difficult for people to like realistically complain about. But I think it's just the fact that the system's changing.
Right.
And a lot of people see themselves as being on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Or maybe being in a situation where like, I've never had to go to an MCQ or a PTQ. I've just always strung together
Enough to go.
enough to go. I've always strung together like gold status or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh no, I have to show up at this event.
The new system definitely kind of like sticks it to the Gold Pro.
Yeah.
Like what used to be a Gold Pro. There's not really a home for them right now. They kind of have to work their way into Rivals or chain together some Players Tour Finals finishes. Or
yeah.
I think a lot of them are going to get lost though.
Yeah, I think so as well. Like Rivals is, I don't know how big Platinum was before. I don't know how many people were
I'm not
Platinum.
sure.
But like you can think of it as kind of like Platinum plus like the very top of Gold.
Yeah.
And the players that get lost are probably like Silver and like that middle to bottom of Gold.
Yeah.
And like they no longer have a home. And then like the Bronze Pro is kind of already lost.
Right.
Right, so the Bronze Pro is just like where they were before.
Yep. I think it's kind of exciting though because realistically those people probably, this is going to sound awful, they probably shouldn't have been like being played just to play Magic anyway. You know what I mean? I'm not saying they're not super talented or whatever, but you know, if you don't have the chops to make it, you know, into the cream of the crop, then like you're not the cream of the crop, you know what I mean?
It is one of those things that like getting to play Magic and make any kind of money out of it
Yeah.
is like a privilege, not a right kind of deal.
Absolutely.
Right? So they'd be like, well, I no longer have a place or whatever is fine, but like you were fortunate to like be able to play at all.
Yeah.
It does hurt for the people that kind of felt like they had a spot in Magic,
Right.
and now they
Kinda don't.
They have to like scramble like, you know, the rest of us.
Yeah. This does open up the whole like bottom two rungs to us though, which is why I'm super excited for this program, because it seems like there's going to be a lot more chances for, you know, people at our level to play more competitive Magic.
Yeah.
And I think that's important and like the way the system should be built.
It sucks that I think it was described that like this is on Pro Points is this system is clearly better for like 1 to 50 in the world. It might be worse for 51 to 100.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's probably worse for 51 to 400.
There weren't 400 people with like pro status.
There were a lot of people that were able to chain together pro tours that
Fair.
weren't, you know what I mean?
But then like it's probably better for the people that were outside of that like gold, silver range of player, because there's now twice as many slots.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't think that qualifying for a 500-person tournament in the United States where there's some ungodly number of Magic players is still an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Even if it's not qualifying for the 500-person Pro Tour.
Right.
This is pretty dang close.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I would count this. It counts in my book.
Oh, yeah. I'd be happy. I would take the day off work.
What was that? What was the first thing you said when I posted the announcement up?
Oh, there's still a Pro Tour-like thing for me to not qualify for?
Exactly.
Here we go. I have a reason to play.
Yeah.
The dream is not dead. And you're listening to me for Magic Advice, folks. All right, so the last thing we've talked about it a lot, it's come up, is the Rivals. So like we said before, MPL is the Premier League, and then I think it's second division.
Sure.
Right? That's the next step down.
Yeah.
You're going to get some invites to events, I think.
They had mentioned a couple events that Rivals players were invited to, but specifically under like the MPL section, they said invites to events, and that was missing in the Rivals section.
Okay.
So that's why I kind of put a question mark next to it.
I know there was talk on Pro Points about how the rival structure is going to incentivize people to play more GPs.
Yeah.
Because they don't have invites to the finals. So if you spike a GP, you get your invite to the finals.
That's good though, because like weren't all the pros complaining, 2 months ago that there was no incentive to play GPs anymore?
Yeah, I mean this is your reason to play a GP.
Yeah.
Is it gets you into a finals.
Yeah.
Right, even if you're a Rivals player. So there's going to be special Rivals Mythic qualifier things, again, to get Mythic points.
Yep.
They're going to get 20K in prize fees, or appearance fees, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the MPL said that they were going to get $50,000 in appearance fees. Rivals players are going to get $20,000.
Like you can see where this money came from, right? Because before it was like 36 players.
Yeah. Or
32 in... They got 75,000 roughly.
Yeah.
We cut that to 24 and gave them 50. And then the rest of the money is 20K to these.
Yeah.
If like your only income's got to be Magic, like
right.
Making 20 grand, I guess, is a dece.
Yeah, I mean, it helps.
Yeah. I mean, I made 20 grand a year in grad school.
Again, this is not tied to prize earnings. So that is separate.
Like,
you spike a GP and win, 10 grand or whatever, then that's yours.
So to get into Rivals, they're going to take the 12 top Mythic point earners from Arena.
Yep.
Again, grind some Arena.
Yep.
Maybe you'll get a $20,000 paycheck.
Yep.
And then the 12 players points earners, so the paper Magic side.
Yep.
Go win some GPs.
Yep.
And then you're going to have the bottom 4 from the MPL.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to have the bottom 12 from the MPL Gauntlet.
Yep. They get invited back.
Okay, so the people from the Gauntlet...
Yeah, the people that made it into the Gauntlet...
Come back. Okay. And then there's going to be 6 discretionary slots, which, again, they can use these to... some people have said maybe they'll use them to reward consistent tournament finishes. Maybe you finished in the top 16 of 6 GPs.
Right.
Or like you top 8'd 3 and then finished in the top 16. They're like, hey, we want you to be in.
Yeah.
But it could also just be like... hey, you're from this area, or you represent this group.
Or you have a lot of Twitch followers.
And we'll come to Paper Magic events.
Yeah.
Wait. Hey, Kenji, you want to be a rival? Come on, Kenji. So I think that there's a clear way to do this.
Yep.
Which is, I think, all you could ask for.
Yep. There is now a path. Everybody was clamoring for a path, and now you have one.
And then the World Championships is going to remain largely unchanged, but like everything, like winning all these different things is going to funnel people into the World Championship.
Yeah, and I believe the announcement also said that they're going to try and like refocus like the prestige of the World Championships. Did we talk on the podcast about Jerry's protest?
No, I don't think.
So Jerry Thompson protested Worlds 2 years ago, I think.
Or a year ago?
Was it just last year? I thought it was the year before last.
Whenever, recently.
Yeah, recently. Because basically nobody knew the event was even happening.
Yeah.
It received no publicity. Wizards said nothing about it. And this is supposed to be like the highest of high-level play, where you have to like basically win a pro tour to get an invite. Really hard to get to. Like I said, it's supposed to be super high-level play, and nobody even knew the event was happening. Well, Jerry protested it by like not showing up to the event. He was invited. And he didn't
flew there, took the hotel room.
Yeah.
And then like Friday morning woke up and was like deuces.
Yeah. Like no showed round 1. Like his round 1 opponent had no opponent.
No, they had to redo the draft pod. I thought it started with a draft.
I'm not sure.
And so they had to redo the draft pod. So there was one
pod
person pod. And like he was in the feature pod, so they had to move someone from another pod into the feature pod.
Oh, all right.
They definitely had an empty seat at the draft all weekend. And there was a bye that went through the tournament.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. In your 24-person tournament that, like, usually, like, 10 and 6 is live for top 8.
Yeah.
And, like, someone's getting a bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, they've done a really crappy job of, like, building up the prestige of Worlds.
Yeah.
Like, here we go. Who's the current world champion?
No idea.
Javier Dominguez.
Well, I think I did know that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, on the tip of your tongue. You're not
Right.
like, oh yeah, of course, Javier Dominguez, like, great guy, likes Commander.
Right.
True fact, likes Commander. But
there's a lot of people that like Commander.
I know, there's a lot of weirdos. Yeah, so trying to build these back up would be good.
And it did sound in the announcement like they are trying to make this a prestigious event again. They're trying to put some focus on it.
Yeah.
So hopefully that happens.
I mean, like the regular news, like CNN covered like the 13 or 15-year-old, 16-year-old kid who won the Fortnite World Championships.
Yeah.
And won like $3.5 million for playing Fortnite.
Yeah.
Like your mom, your grandma is like, has talked to me like, some kid won all his money playing video games. Right? It showed up on her TV.
Yeah.
No one's like, Javier Dominguez won the Magic World Championship. Some Spanish-sounding guy won some money playing them cards you play. Your grandma hasn't said that.
Never, ever.
Ever.
Yep.
Right, so they need, like, if Fortnite can do it, like, Magic can at least, I don't know, have the people that play the game know who won their big event.
Yeah.
So the only thing that came out of the announcement that was a little worrying to me it was during the Twitch broadcast, Bear and his friend Large Man, whose name I forget.
Bear and guy next to Bear.
Bear and guy to the left of Bear.
Yeah.
Someone asked, what are they called? What are the points that we earn?
Planeswalker points?
Planeswalker points. Are Planeswalker points still going to be used for GP buys?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, we don't know. We're not sure if we're going to continue to do buys at GPs.
Yeah.
The reasoning they gave was, twofold. Was one, like, the buys in some people's eyes are a little controversial because they do, like, really advantage people.
Right, but the people that they advantage are people that do well. Like, if you scrub out 2,000 events in a year, you're not going to have Planeswalker points for 2 buys. You have to, like...
I mean, if you play 2,000 events, like, you just get 1 point for showing up.
Right, but that's still not enough for...
Fair. If you go 0-3 in 2,000 events...
Yeah.
You don't get 2 buys. It rewards people that are playing a lot.
Yeah. But, like, not just playing, though. You still have to do well.
I am fine with the buys.
Yeah.
And then the other thing they said is it locks in the tournament structures.
Right.
And people could do more creative things with their tournaments if they didn't have the buys, which I don't know what creative things you're trying to do with your tournaments.
Yeah, like, especially when the things that you're getting buys for are, like, 2,000 player events.
Yeah, I don't know what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
But they did make it sound like they haven't completely settled on buys being a thing that's going to be part of GPs going forward.
Yeah.
Which, if they're trying to incentivize GPs, right, you need to then also incentivize playing FNMs.
Right.
Right. So for one of us or one of our listeners that is like, oh, hey, I want to do well at a GP.
Yeah.
Well, if I play enough of my local events, I can get a buy or I can get 2 buys. So I have to do a little less work on the day to do well in my event.
One of our friends who's actually going to Atlanta with us was so concerned with his buys, actually the buys for this current season, but the points from last season, that he booked a flight to Niagara Falls by himself to play in a GP, just so that he would make sure he had enough for a buy.
He played Delver and played against Enchantress 3 times.
Yeah.
It's a bad matchup.
Bad.
Very, very bad. But yeah, he was like, I need these points. And so he made this trip. Yeah. So that's all the new stuff.
Yeah. I hope buys don't go away.
I hope buys don't go away as well. That would be very, very sad.
Yep.
Now, it's arena time.
It is arena time. Dun, dun, dun!
Yes, right. We played a lot. As a podcast, we played a lot of Magic. So we had, like I said, 200 and something games overall across everything. Yeah. Basically silver up through diamond. Mm-hmm. And as I think I already mentioned, I listen to all these podcasts and there's clearly 2 tier 1 decks. Yeah. It's Scape Shift
and Vampires.
And it's specifically Bantscape Shift.
Yep.
Bantscape Shift or Scape Shift in general, because there's a bunch of different flavors running around, was only 7% of the decks that we saw.
Yeah, that's not a whole lot.
And I'm sometimes guessing that I'm playing against Scape Shift. Right. When I see Field of the Dead and stuff, and there's so many Field of the Dead decks, I might be underestimating it. And then Vampires was 7.7%. Esper was 14% of all the decks everyone played against.
Man, so if you add the supposedly top 2 decks of the format together, you still get Esper?
You still get Esper. And then again, off meta was almost a quarter.
Yeah.
And partway through the week, loyal listener and data entry man Jesse was like, can you put Grixis and Red Black in his actual decks because I'm playing them all the time.
Yeah.
So I went in and like changed the chart midway through so he could start putting his like Red Black data in.
Yeah.
And that was 6% was the Red Black Sacrifice / aggro deck.
Wow.
Yeah.
So almost as much as
as
Vampires
these
and Scape
top
Shift.
tier decks.
Yeah.
So it's super weird. I don't know like why they're not translating to Arena when everyone's like these are the best decks. Off meta stuff I played and got smushed by black green Bolus Citadel.
Oh.
Hadn't seen that deck in forever.
Yeah. Like the last time I saw that deck was at our last MCQ.
Yeah. And then we had Ken lost to to an off meta deck, and in the notes section he might have won. He left it blank, but in the notes section it just said OMG LOL. I don't know what it was. It must have been a spicy meatball. She was just like, all right, like you had a bad time.
You got to get at us. Let us know what that was.
Yeah, it was just like, all right, cool. I see you there. Now going back through, so that was 235 matches across everything, and then in Diamond we had 47 matches, and here Vampires was like 13%.
Okay, so a little bit more.
Yeah, and then Scape Shift was 9.
Yeah.
Boros Feather was 9. Elementals 9.
Yeah.
So there was more of like kind of the decks you'd expect to see. Simic or Bant Ramp was 13%.
Oh, wow.
So again, like...
And that was kind of the deck of this past weekend too, right? Bant Ramp?
I think so, yeah. It somehow goes bigger than Field of the Dead.
Yeah, somehow.
I don't understand. And then Platinum... 163 matches.
Woo!
Yeah. And here's where Esper was 16%.
Yeah.
So, like, Esper was well represented in the Platinum metagame, and then it was just a collection of, like, 7 to 5% stuff.
Yep.
And Red Black Sacrifice was the next highest deck with 8%.
Wow.
And again, off-meta stuff was a quarter of it.
Yeah.
Like, we have 12 or 13 decks that are the meta.
Yeah.
The fact that we're still getting like these giant chunks of like off meta stuff, and sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you're playing and you're like, I'm playing as elementals because there's so much like overlap in the format, and like we've kind of smushed Esper together where it can be control
or
hero. It's mainly control. There's a lot of Bolus Citadels in the control decks now.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to tell sometimes, but that's kind of what we've seen is, again, like, Arena's its own animal. Like, I think it doesn't reflect the paper meta game well at all. So the Planecation this week is take out most of the busted cards out of Standard.
Yeah, there's like a super expanded ban list. Like any card that anybody has ever complained about once is on the ban list.
Yes.
I don't know if you played the Planecation at all.
I did. I got my 6 wins the hard way with Dinosaurs. Deck is trash in all formats. Don't play it.
I got mine the easy way playing the Rakdos Sacrifice deck because there's no banned cards in it.
Yeah.
It took me like an hour and a half, 6-0, super easy. I was all done.
The reason I played Dinosaurs is it was together.
Yeah.
And there are no banned cards in it, so you didn't have to like make any like.
It was air quotes together on Arena.
It was.
You didn't have to sleeve anything.
You didn't have to sleeve anything. It was the minimum number of clicks to get started.
Yeah.
And then it was the maximum number of clicks to get 6 wins.
What's the next Planecation?
I don't know what the next event is.
You don't know?
It's the last one, right? It's next week.
I think so.
It'll be the 5th land.
Oh man, I missed 2 of them.
You missed 2 lands.
That stinks.
Yeah.
I did the first one. I did this one.
This was Island, right?
Yeah, this one was Island.
I think we have Mountain Forest.
Okay.
And then the first one was...
The first one was Forest.
First one's Forest. We have Mountain Swamp.
Okay.
And then I think the last one is Plains.
Of course it is.
Those will be the only lands I use. Like, they're not going to print better lands than those.
Yeah. Well, the Mirage ones, I've always kind of liked the Mirage ones that you got for, like, just playing this week.
Yeah, those ones were Mirage ones. I wasn't paying super close attention.
Yeah.
Again, from the Twitter of Andre Strosky, there's apparently a semi-busted, quote-unquote, again, just like every week, best deck in Standard.
Yeah.
It's this legendary / like historic deck.
Yeah, you said you messed around with this one a little bit,
I played
right?
exactly one game with it. It's a graveyard deck,
Yeah.
and I beat 2 Ashioks.
Whew.
Kind of no problem. It was a little sketchy. I was down to 4 cards in my library.
Yeah.
I had no idea how the deck really worked until I got started. So you play like Diligent Excavator, the 1/3 for 1 in the blue that when you cast a historic spell, you can mill someone for 2.
Okay.
And then you play Lazav and
Kethis,
the Hidden Hand. And Kethis is a 3/4 for Abzan, green, white, black. All your legendary spells cost 1 less to cast. And you can exile 2 legendary cards from your graveyard, and all the legendary cards that are currently in your graveyard when you activate that ability can be cast from the graveyard.
Okay.
You're like self-milling yourself until you kind of reach a critical mass of cards, and then you start playing things out of your graveyard. And so Lazav gives you extra copies of Kethis, because if you have a Lazav and then you mill your Kethis, you just make a Kethis with your Lazav.
Right.
So you don't have to actually cast it in your 3-color deck. Plays Tameo, Teferi, Ashiok to mill yourself. Plays Urza's Ruinous Blast.
Whew.
Get some. And you are just trying to kind of set up a board state where you can cast a bunch of stuff out of your graveyard and mill your opponent out.
Like you said, Mox Ambers, right?
Yeah, Mox Ambers.
Yeah.
So
You just kind of loop them.
you can, but like you have to have enough legendary stuff in your graveyard that after you've like if you have 3 in your graveyard and 1 in play, you can cast the 3 from your graveyard.
Yeah.
But the 3 that go to your graveyard because of the legend rule can no longer be cast from your graveyard. You have to exile 2 more legendary cards
To give them that ability.
But if you have 30 cards in your graveyard, every card in your deck is legendary.
Yeah.
So it just makes it easy for you to kind of meet that requirement and start casting stuff. The only problem is it's similar to the Esper version of this deck that was kind of played a while back with, was it Rona?
Oh, a Disciple of Gix.
Disciple of Gix.
Yep.
You're doing so much stuff on your turn. You're constantly
Timing
roped.
out. Yeah.
Like I admittedly had no idea what I was doing. I was kind of like figuring it out as like feeling around as I was going along.
Yeah.
But it just felt like I was constantly being roped.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh God, I don't want to like pass the turn back and lose.
The first time I ran into that issue was 2 years ago, maybe. Like when Arena was first, like it wasn't even an open beta yet. Like I don't even think you were playing Arena at the time.
No, because this was...
Like Dominaria had just come out.
Yeah.
And there was the Psi deck, the Psi Aetherflux Reservoir. And I had a RPTQ that weekend, like right when that deck got popular. So I was trying to find a way to jam games, so I built it on Arena. But you could not pilot that deck on Arena. It would time you out all the time. You'd be like in the middle of comboing off and it'd time you out.
I had this problem when I was running this on my wife's potato of a computer.
Yeah.
When I was playing Niv Mizzet. If I cast more than 2 spells, like it just like I couldn't resolve my Niv Mizzet triggers.
Yeah.
Because the computer couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
And I bought a baked potato, a slightly better potato.
Yeah, sweet potato.
Yeah, sweet potato of a computer. Sorry, buddy. And I hadn't had any problems with the like recent updates. The game runs like considerably worse than it has run previously. Like I've noticed like just like performance issues, and a lot of people have.
All right. Well, so my computer's like 8 years old, so I haven't noticed any difference.
So I don't know if it's a situation where like the combo takes a while to execute, or the fact that like you're putting all these triggers on the stack, and my computer's not fast enough to keep up with
maybe
all the triggers on the stack, which is frustrating, but you know, what are you gonna do?
Right. Supposedly there was an announcement today. Did you hear the announcement?
I did not hear the announcement.
Arena's coming to Mac.
Oh my God, I have a Mac. It's like good.
Yeah.
When is this happening?
Jesse put it in our local game store chat, like as you were opening the door.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find it.
I am in for this because my Mac will definitely run it.
Magic Arena is coming to the Epic Games Store this winter. Oh, and Mac OS after that too. Our goal is to bring Magic to new places and players.
Hopefully winter, early spring.
Yeah.
So, all right, computer, hold out. Then you'll just become the podcast computer.
You can do it.
You can do it, buddy. So that's good.
Yeah. Good
That'll
news.
make people happy. I mean, in that same thing, I saw that like Mark Rosewater doesn't play Arena because he only owns Macs.
Right. Well, I don't think he has a whole lot of time either, but...
Yeah. And I guess if your job is making Magic cards, you don't want to relax with a relaxing game of competitive standard.
That is true. The last thing I want to do on a weekend's work on cars.
This is fair. I try not to teach random people. But like as I said, I was like, being a professor is liking the sound of your own voice.
Yeah.
So you're like, I can't help myself.
Yeah, so here you are.
Here I am talking at you people, hoping that you like the sound of my voice.
Yep.
I mean, you keep coming. My students have to pay a bunch of money to listen to me. Like they almost don't have a choice. You
get it for free.
You get it for free. Yeah. This is where Chuckles would be like, when are you going to start your Patreon? One day. One day.
We're getting there. I got the new logo, as you guys have probably seen. I am working on playmats and some other swag.
I have the Patreon page. It exists.
Yeah.
I just feel as though it's a little presumptuous to be like,
give us money.
Give us money now. So yeah, so I think that keep an eye out for like new arena decks. So if you see this like random collection of like
legends,
Sultai cards and like legendary cards, like that's what's going on.
Yeah.
Ursus Ruinous Blast is like great in that deck. There are only 4 non-legendary cards in the whole deck, and there are the Diligent Excavators, and everything else is like. I actually cast that spell to mill my opponent for 4.
Yeah.
And now removed none of my permanents and removed none of their planeswalkers, but I did get 4 cards for my 5 mana. And then milled them out with Ashiok.
There you go.
Super easy. You can see that and kind of know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're interested in it, just find Andre Strosky on Twitter, or I'll probably retweet it. He has a Cyborg guide, which he's like super good for.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
I think they've been calling it Kethis Combo.
Okay.
I think they've been calling the deck Kethis Combo. So
I think like Sam Black worked on it as well.
Okay.
Went like 5-2 in the event.
Yeah.
Where a bunch of other people like went 10-0, 10-1. So
cool.
The deck's legit. And I think with that, I don't think there's any other cool happenings on Arena. We have another Planecation eventually.
Yeah, whatever the next one is.
Yeah. So, yeah, with that, I think we're good here, right?
Yeah, I can't think of anything else. If you got any ideas for shows, get a hold of us.
Yep.
If you see any cool Arena decks that you want to share, get a hold of us.
You tweet at us at Casual Tripod. Like I said, the phone's always in my pocket.
Yep. You can hit us up on Facebook, Casual Tryhard MTG. You can email us at show@casualtryhardmtg.com. And check out our YouTube channel. There's not a whole lot there except for this episode, but like I said, if it's something you guys are looking for or want to see, maybe we'll.
I can record some stuff. I won't record myself. Like I like the mystery. I have a face for radio. But yeah.
Maybe we'll work on our YouTube channel a little bit though, if there's some desire for it.
Oh yeah, and so we called out Dieter last week. We haven't heard from Nick the Nerd in a long time.
Yeah.
So Nick, hopefully you've not been like lost in the Tim Hortons or something. So I think with that, we'll catch you next week.
Yep, we'll catch you at FNM.